When an American family controls its own health care financing, has a wide variety of low-cost, innovative choices, and receives insurance through a sponsor they trust, insurance policies will only disappear when the family decides it doesn't serve them as well as a competitor would. The final important principle of reform is to rediscover our sense of personal responsibility. We must personally do everything we can to prevent expensive chronic diseases. Our rights in this country are protected by our personal sense of responsibility for our own well-being. Cases of diabetes are going up, not only in the baby boom generation, but among younger Americans. Obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure are all on the rise. Parents who don't impart to their children a sense of personal responsibility for their health, nutrition, and exercise, vital quality of life information that political correctness has expelled from our schools, have failed their responsibility. Also, parents are responsible for ensuring that their children are covered with health insurance, if, as is often the case, many options are already available to them. My friends, we can build a healthcare system that is more responsive to our needs and is delivered to more people at lower cost. The solution, my friends, isn't a one-size-fits-all big government takeover of healthcare. It resides where every important social advance has always resided, with the American people themselves, with well-informed American families making practical decisions to address their imperatives for better health and more secure prosperity. The engine of our prosperity and progress has always been our freedom and the sense of responsibility for and control of our own destiny that freedom requires. The public's trust in government waxes and wanes, but we've always trusted in ourselves to meet any challenge that required only our ingenuity and industry to surmount. Any solution that robs us of that essential sense of ourselves is a cure far worse than the affliction it is meant to treat. Thank you very much. Question or comment on anything? Yes, ma'am.
I became a fan of yours when you and Senator Feingold sponsored the McCain-Feingold bill. I'm not sure if I'm still a fan because I don't know what you've been doing on behalf of trying to get the big money out of our government. And as I understand, your campaign has faced some financial challenges, so you, of all people, should be in favor of somehow making it so that the person with the most money isn't the winner, that it's based on good ideas. So I'm wondering two things. What specifically do you plan to do now, and if you're elected, to get the big money out of campaigns and elections, and also have you, as your campaign, accepted donations from drug companies or insurance companies?
Well, in answer to your second question, every one of the candidates say that they're going to take on the special interests. I'm the only one that the special interests don't give any money to. I think that the McCain-Feingold, or BICRA as it's called, has worked pretty successfully. It was not intended, nor was it aimed at presidential campaigns. It was on the congressional federal election campaign level. According to the former chairman of the Republican National Committee, we have millions of more small donors. The soft money that used to mean that a powerful congressman or senator would call up a trial lawyer or a union leader or a corporate head and say, I need a six-figure check from you before your bill comes up before my committee next week, which was a regular happening before we passed that law, is no longer there. There's still special interests in Washington that are incredibly angry at me and Russ. By the way, poor Russ, many people in Wisconsin think his first name is McCain. I feel bad about it. As president, I will do whatever I can to eliminate first of all, enforce existing law, which is the 74 law, which means the elimination of the 527s. The 527s are funded by a few people. They're in some cases hundreds of millions of dollars. They are intended to affect the outcome of elections, and yet the Federal Elections Commission won't do anything really significant and meaningful against them. And you see the most negative of all ads coming out of the 527s. Probably the most outrageous that I've seen, maybe in my political career, maybe not, but maybe certainly ranks up there, was the recent MoveOn.org. It was a 527 ad in the New York Times. You probably heard about it, full-page ad. General Petraeus or Betraeus, and a direct attack on the honor and integrity of a man who's risked his life for his country in 3 wars. A direct attack on the honor of the officer corps of the military. This kind of thing has got, I think, if somebody had small donations or within campaign financing law, that would be one thing. It's probably 1 or 2 donors or huge amounts of money. Maybe not, but whatever it was, it's unregulated. So I would make the first object of my effort to that. But I want to say that the internet has been an enormous benefit. There are now literally millions of people that donate over the internet that never did before. And I'm all for small donations. It's an investment in a campaign. It's an involvement in the political process. So overall, am I pleased with the results? Yes. But unfortunately, we have a Federal Elections Commission that, generally speaking, does not enforce the laws that we passed, and I regret that. Go ahead, follow up, please.
Well, were some of the teeth taken out of the McCain-Feingold bill legislatively, a year ago, 9 months ago?
No. What happened was the Federal Elections Commission refused to enforce existing law of the 527s, and in the United States Supreme Court, they removed the 60-day requirement that an ad could not be run that issues a candidate's name. I didn't want that overturned, but overall the bill is still the fundamentals. The biggest problem in Washington before that legislation was the soft money, the 6- and 7-figure checks that were coming into political campaigns that were really distorting the political process. Now, are special interests still very influential in Washington? Well, we see it manifested all the time. We see it in the corruption in the earmarking and pork barrel spending process. And I say corruption because there are former members of Congress now residing in federal prison. That isn't corruption. I don't know what is. And there's more investigations going on. But the earmarking and pork barrel spending cannot be regulated by campaign finance laws. It can only be by cleaning up a corrupt system that continues to exist this day in our nation's capital, much to the detriment of average taxpayers. A small example, we just passed a public works bill. It had some 900 public works projects in it. They resounding, $21 billion. They resoundingly rejected an amendment that would prioritize in magnitude of importance and cost benefit any of those projects. You know what that does? That then allows the members of the Appropriations Committee to pick and choose which projects that they are going to fund first. It's disgraceful. Yes, sir?
What do you do about the problem that any individual who is worth millions of dollars will spend all of their money and therefore have a distinct advantage? I think Bloomberg or Scorpion.
Yep. Governor Romney has spent a great deal of money. As you know, there's nothing you can do about it. It's a guarantee right under our Constitution that people can do whatever they want to with their money or their property. And so there's just no way that you can tell somebody that they're restricted in how they spend their money. It's just a judgment that the voters have to make. Yes, sir.
I was watching on C-SPAN a week or so ago and was listening to Lee Hamilton from the 9/11 Commission, and he was asked what was the greatest threat to America at the current time. He expressed a great deal of concern over dirty nuclear coming into the country in some way or another. And he also commented that the candidates aren't paying attention to it and on the radar scope. Quite concerned about that. I then think back to another presidential campaign which Dick Lugar ran for president, and I remember him talking almost on a Johnny One-Note basis about that problem eventually being a major, major problem